Hello and a warm welcome to everyone joining us for our bi weekly webinar series. Every other week, we dive into pressing challenges which are faced by businesses. Whether it's in the realm of healthcare, HR, hospitality, manufacturing. Our mission is just to solve these intricate operational issues that are faced by these industries with smart digital solutions. Today, we're zeroing in on a topic that's more relevant than ever, which is quality. Let's face it, today customers are more demanding than ever. With so many choices that they have at their fingertips, even a single imperfect product or service can be all it takes to lose their trust. In fact, studies even show that most customers they now value quality above price or even service. So one slip, one goof up, one mischeck, and suddenly you're not just dealing with a return or a complaint, you're literally risking your reputation and your bottom line. And that is the reason digital quality control isn't just a nice to have thing anymore. It's literally the backbone for any successful operation. So how do you make your quality your superpower? That's exactly what we are going to explore today with Odoo as our toolkit. And I'm thrilled to introduce Yashas. He's our senior functional expert, known for his hands-on expertise across manufacturing, quality, digital transformation. He has helped dozens of factories modernize their operations and knows exactly how to translate complex requirements into real-world Odoo solutions. So you're in great hands today. Yashas, over to you.
Thank you, Arva. Very good evening, everyone. I welcome you all. So, as Arva rightly mentioned, this bi-weekly webinar, in this specific webinar, we are looking at the quality control. That is how, in assuming ourselves into a small or medium scale organization, a manufacturing entity, or even a trading entity, how we can digitize or how we can transform our present quality measures with respect to whether when I'm going to check the quality during procurement or during processing or before the final dispatch. How are these processes can be captured within a software tool? Do we require multiple softwares to do it in multiple operation steps? Or is this first able to capture in a system? What all possibilities are there, what not, and how well I can transform this whole activity into something which is more informative, so that, as Arva rightly mentioned, not lose the trust of customers and not lose the business at all at the end of the day. So that's what we are going to look into. So from the start to finish, let's see how we can use Odoo as a tool, ERP tool, to help us bring the whole digital transformation with respect to quality control. So to start with, we believe that the quality measures or the quality checks that we have in place act as our new currency for customer retention, because, as Arva also highlighted this, with the global upscaling of the all the industries, that especially the customer facing industries, where customers are not just given very good to look or good to have products. It's also about assuring them that the product that they are buying, the service that they are buying, is of top notch quality. That is, there are no problems that they can anticipate in the next couple of years, at least for minimum some years, so that they can use the product. It could be a service or it could be a goods, hassle free. So that's the most important thing. So with that, we bring few statistics. Few of them are like, basically, as Arva also mentioned, we with our research, we found out that 88% of our customers, or any customers available globally, prioritize product quality over price and service. That means to say that it's whatever the brand they want to buy or anything as such, they can spend a penny more, a dollar more, if the quality they feel is of higher notch, or if it is more transparent, or if it is more very well captured, very well presented with respect to all the quality measures. So that's what the customers feel. Also, 67% of the manufacturers feel that the digital QC is very, very important, because it is both efficient and also compliant. That is, because with the modern day this thing techniques, the even the statutory laws or the local laws and all the the government bodies, so they ask a manufacturer or they ask a trader to set up these quality measures, to put them into scrutiny every now and then. That is, they ask to provide the quality reports every month, or in a trimester, or in a half yearly or a yearly. So making having all these manually would be a challenging task, but rather having everything digital, so that it can be more transparent, more efficient, and also compliant with the statutory laws. And then 40% of the cost reduction achieved by those who adopted digital quality control. That is especially rather than having manual things in place or not having quality control measures in place, or just by having a visual quality checks. If these things can be captured in a tool, using a tool over a software or in any other method, uh, the the overall cost of the later rolling the products back or facing issues with respect to customers will reduce. Because of this, the brand value increases, the sales increases, end of the day the revenue increases. So as Arva mentioned again, I'm going to highlight it that once again over here, quality now is not just a differentiator, but it's a mandatory requirement. So as we mentioned earlier, so we shall dwell into one of the, case studies as well, how we are going to capture this quality, what all possibilities are there, and how we can capture this using a ERP tool called Odoo. So that's the overall agenda. So first, we'll see how what are the hidden costs of poor quality measures? What happens if I do not capture the quality measures in the right place at the right time? And then how we can do all these aspects. If I have a small manufacturing industry or a trading industry, how Odoo can help us capture the quality measures and quality parameters, where all it is possible with the feasibility of Odoo. And then we'll dwell into a living example. That is basically we take up a live example of making a coffee table as a simple manufacturing process. Then we'll see during this process where all and how all we can capture the quality parameters in a digitized format and in a more informative format. And finally, we can answer any questions if any of the audience have. So let's begin. So the first thing is we want to understand how important the quality measures are and why is it required. Especially for example, with with the products which directly goes to the retail customers or even with B2B customers. Basically, recalls from the basically, if there are any quality checks which are missed out, we might have to recall it. You might have read in the newspapers or in the news outlets where, especially from the automobile manufacturers, this usually happens. They would have missed checking a airbag functionality or a brake functionality, or there could be one spare part which was default, which has gone into all the automobiles, and they would recall these models, service them for free, replace the defect, but then they genuinely do it, put out upfront, so that they tell the customer that we have identified with our this thing, that is basically with our quality measures, that there is a fault and we will replace it. So they want to increase the trust. But imagine the time, the effort, the money it takes for such a recall, replacement, and the most important part, the impact on the customer. So that's one of the second point which is mentioned over here: loss of trust and loss of customers. Losing the customers at the end of the day. And most importantly, we, again, as I mentioned earlier also, we have to answer to all the compliance bodies or the statutory bodies who would definitely look for why was the mistake happen in the first place. Why wasn't it checked? What are the measures that we have? How are we capturing these quality measures? So as I said, one missed check will be equal to 1,000 lost, in fact, in millions, in fact. But most importantly, rather than looking into from the money perspective, the money perspective, it's about the customer's trust and customer's confidence and the overall revenue. So we say that stop before it ships, look for quality measures, capture the quality parameters, have everything in place so that you double check the whole process, double check the products or service that goes out, so that the customer is also happy and we don't get a lot of problems from the customer, that is issues from the customer. So now we know that yes, these are the things, or how important is quality to be addressed. Now we'll see how Odoo can help us, especially with the recent version of Odoo 18. What all we can do with Odoo with respect to the quality model or the quality process. So basically, as I said, the quality measures, what we propose is basically when we have a manufacturing setup. Later in our example, I'll explain. When we buy something as raw material, we can do the quality checks. When we start assembling these or manufacturing these, when I say manufacturing, processing, any of the processing operations, in each and every step we can define certain quality points, and then we can check for the quality measures. Okay, these were the aspects that we need to check. Did this particular process or product pass it, whether it was a successful completion, or whether it failed, or whether I can accept it under some deviation. All those things we can check it. And later, once the finished goods is ready, it is ready for dispatch, and the dispatch can happen anytime when the sales happen. So based on that as well, before the dispatch, we can do the quality testing once again, because certain products age, with the time period, they deteriorate, their quality deteriorates. So with that, we might also have to do some pre-dispatch testing as well. So do I need different products for each of these operations? Can I do it in one single ERP tool, one single software tool? Yes, with Odoo, it is possible. And most importantly, these quality checks, when I say it's digitized, it's not that we need to have a laptop or a computer in place. We can even have it on our phones, or even in mobile tablets as well. That is the tablets as well, which can be put out in the shop floor, especially because during the production process, it's going to be very you know how the hardware setup looks like in a shop floor. There'll be a lot of machines, a lot of spare parts, a lot of oil, grease, depending on the type of manufacturing process. So much of components lying around. It's literally like a lot of chaos in place. But so in such scenarios, the using of a computer, using of a laptop would be impractical. So in such scenarios, we can have a tablet setup as well, which will be having Odoo in place, because it's a Odoo is available as a mobile app or a web app as well. And next most important thing, with the new generations, the new technology that are coming in, AI will also help us in such a way that it can prompt with new quality measures, and also it can track the previous quality measures and suggest something in the future, for, like a corrective measure or a preventive measure. Then comes the IoT integration, where certain sensors or certain machines can also be integrated with the IoT box, which is available with Odoo itself, and that can be used for checking the quality as well. And most importantly, for all the setting up the quality measure page, or we want, these are the quality things that has to happen. For one of the product, I need to just say, okay, whether it is pass or fail. For another product, I need to measure the actual parameter. Okay, it could be weight, or it could be viscosity, or it could be length, or anything as such. For another, I just want to take an image saying that okay, this works good. For another, I just have to put out a write up saying that these were the characteristics which went well. So to do all this, we might need not depend on a development team or a technical person. For every different types of operation or different type of product, we can choose how we want. So that's the drag and drop workflows. And finally, with all this, what are we going to do? We need to have a very good reporting system which is centralized, and also all my quality parameters traced. And basically, what do I do with this data? I need to take some action. I need to improvise. I need to figure out which vendors are giving good quality products, which are the processes, or what are the parameters that in my manufacturing or in my processing which are yielding me bad in process quality measures. Or how many days, if I keep my finished goods on in the warehouse on the shelf, my the material quality is deteriorating. What action do I need to take? So all these things becomes a part of reporting. So as I said, a powerful, with all this, we can say that a powerful QC that the quality control that it grows with you without technical debt. It's basically it is a most important aspect of our whole operations for any particular manufacturing or trading setup, is what we say. Going further, to explain you how it looks in Odoo, with what can your quality control toolkit will look like in version 18 of Odoo. Here is a screenshot where, for example, this is basically the background is of a manufacturing order where we are putting up some quality checks for a particular table, and we can say, as I said, what has to be checked. Do I have to put out a note? Do I put out an image, as we can see over here? Do I say pass or fail? It's as simple as possible. I can say that, okay, either do a quality check for the whole operation or for one product. It can be depending on anything. So based on that, we can have the quality checks appearing on the screen in different processes of every step of the product, and then it can say what measure the quality inspector or the quality person, whoever is the quality personnel available on the floor, has to do. Same way, whether, as I said, the quality, it also gives us a quality measure where if I say I have to record a thickness, or if I have to put out the moisture content, or if I have to put out the length, where we need to measure it. We can say that ideal conditions are so and so. That is, this is the minimum, this is the maximum, and so far my present quality measure is this. system will immediately tell that you have measured so and so, but it is actually not what is expected. So the ideal parameters should have been this. So based on that, we can say that yes, we can correct the measure by I'll take it once again, or I'll make sure the process goes once again and then I'll record it. Or we can say I'll accept this and we'll do the further action later. So all those things can be taken up. And as I said, when we say drag and drop functionality, what we mean is with Odoo Studio module, we can have, do I want to take an image over there? What functionalities to be put out? Whether I want to write a notes over there, or whether I have to put out a decimal alphanumeric characters over there. All these things can be put out depending on our our requirement. It's not that it's a set tool which has to be taken up in a very disciplined manner, where the user is given, or the quality team is given the flexibility to define their own worksheets. That's the most important aspect with respect to Odoo version 18. And also reporting, as I said, the last part of it, when we speak about the reports, Odoo also provides all these quality checks or the measures finally in terms of spreadsheets. We usually maintain all these quality checks or with respect to all these data outside the ERP tool in manual Excels or in some other places. But with Odoo version 17 and 18, especially with respect to the latest version 18, we have the spreadsheets also within Odoo, which can even bring later to the dashboard. That is, a spreadsheet is also available within Odoo, and this can be portrayed, or this can be displayed or put out as part of a visual dashboard with respect to Gantt charts or a bar chart or pie chart of anything as such. So these are all couple of the possibilities within Odoo. Now we shall see basically how to build. Let's build a coffee table together. I'll quickly mention what are the steps, ideal steps, or the common steps that we can take up to build a coffee table, where we inculcate the quality measures in every aspect, every step of the manufacturing. So first we do to build a simple coffee table with a chair attached or with a handle attached to it or something like that, with a glass top or a very good wooden finish on top. We need the raw materials, as you know, the glass, the wooden ply, the all the aspects, the laminating this thing, sheets and other things. And then we prepare the tabletop first as a first product. And then we also prepare the leg and the frames so that the tabletop sits on the frame supported by the legs. We do the sub assembly, and then we do the main assembly of the whole table. We give the finishing touches with sanding and polishing and all these things, painting, whatever the paints that we want. And finally, we do the inspection. So the reason why we have taken this example is it's a very simple one, and also we can clearly mention where all we can capture the quality and how this can happen in Odoo. So it's going to be a one-to-one measure of how it can happen and when it can happen. So proceeding further, so the first thing is component receiving. So what we say is, we need to, ideally what we propose is, whenever we procure the items, if they are very high valued items and also very crucial items, it's better we define some quality measures with any of these items. It's not that all raw materials needs to go for a quality check. It is not mandatory. At the same time, it doesn't take much of a time and effort to check each and every of the aspects. We can define the quality parameters for any of this or all of this, and we can put out in such a way that the moment there is a material receipt that happens, Odoo will immediately prompt a quality check for you. You don't have to do it manually every time. It's just one time configuration that Odoo will take care of its own. So this is how we put out the, with Odoo, how we can do it. Basically, we can put out for each and every this thing product or operation. We can say all the receipts will go for a quality check, or all the products which, of the certain products, go whenever we receive it, go for a quality check. We can say it is pass or fail, or we can put out measures. We can even take your images and all those stuff, and we can continue with that. What is the impact of it? Even before the product get into production line, we are catching hold, we are defining the quality parameters, we are checking how it behaves, and we are recording all these things as part of this in the system. And so that it clearly gives me, okay, which vendors the quality is standing out good for me. Because it's not that we procure all these materials from one single vendor. We might definitely take up multiple products with multiple vendors, so we definitely would go ahead with rating the vendors quality as well. And most importantly, it will clearly give me a log for further purposes as a traceability measure. What was the quality parameters for the incoming products? So it can look like this in Odoo. As you can see, for one of the product, we can see control frequency also can be set. How often do you want to record this for every transaction, or for all the products, or for certain products? You can even put it out as a this thing sample size as well. It need not take every single transaction. And then which team handles it, which exact quality person handles it, and what all operations this particular quality check has to happen, and what needs to happen. All these things can be set out in Odoo itself. Next one is, once this is done, we can do, I'll give a quick info as well. Once we receive it and do the quality check, we can, in certain scenarios, return back the materials to my vendor, giving the clear cut quality measure, saying that this is what we expected, but your product did not stand to that, up to that mark. These are quality measurements that we have taken, and because of which we are returning the goods. Or internally, if your system or your workplace has that kind of a quality, you can work on it internally. That is, we call it as the reprocessing, and we can further use it as well, because returning and putting out a debit notes, if it will cost too much for us as a logistic thing as well, we can, if it's minor damages, we can only, or if it is minor measures that has to be improvised, and we know the technology of those raw materials, we can only improvise the quality and we can further use it as well. That can also happen. Coming to the next one, with respect to the building up the whole tabletop, we might have to cut the wooden plank or the glass also. If it's a glass tabletop into a necessary size, we might have to use some other glues and clamps to make it make sure it fastens to the whole legs and the whole body. And then we might have to do the sanding, and we might have to do the edge treatment. Again, these are standard processes, or an example process. This might not be the same for all the coffee table preparations. This we have taken as an example. Now over here, what all things can be put out for QC? So we can put out, that is basically the thickness of the particular tabletop, the width, the flatness, because it has to be a very flat surface. There should not be any improper this thing measures on the surface as well. And then it should not have any visible defects. That's very important and mandatory. So for this, we can also include in such a way that we need to take a picture of the whole tabletop as well. What happens with this in the process? What are the gains, or how well we can, or what are the advantages of doing this? Is basically using this, the quality parameters during the process. What we can say is to make sure that once the whole product is ready, and then we say that the tabletop surface is not flat. But rather than that, the moment the product is completed, the whole tabletop is prepared, we can immediately check for quality. We can record the quality measures, and then we can send it to the next process of assembling it with the whole legs and all the whole body. So that is a leg and frame preparation, which I want to highlight. Where we check this. We prepare the legs, we put out we join them, we cut them, and all those sanding and making the surfaces smooth will all happen. And we can do the quality checks, again putting out various measures. That is, we can put out, that is, are there any cracks, what is the length, because all four legs or three legs, whatever, depending on the type of the table, it should be of the same length, and all these things. And again, the picture becomes a mandatory thing. Again, as I said, the continuous and consistent advantages, we don't have to wait for the final quality check to fail. It can go anyways. Once the table is completely built, you might have seen it might be wobbling because of the inconsistent height, or because of the placement of the legs. So instead of that, with every operation, we can check the quality measures and then proceed for the next operation. The sub-assembly and the dry fit of the whole table, again, we put out the quality checks, where here we can say that a worksheet has to be prepared, and the quality person, whoever is taking up the measures, has to be put out for the pass and fail. Is everything, all the screws put out proper? Is the tabletop not wobbly? Is the surface right? Is the whole table fitting in and without any problems with respect to shaking or anything as such? If it falls off, how durable it is, or how well it can withstand these kind of pressures. So all these things can be put out, and again, the same process, we are emphasizing on step by step quality measures, so that we don't build the entire table and then start checking up, okay, where did I go wrong? So that's the most important part. You can see over here, this is how the Odoo quality checks will look like. Where what is the the quality check will have a unique identification number for it. What is a particular quality measure that we are looking at, which machine we are looking at, which process we are looking at, and also who is doing it, what are the parts that we are checking, and all these things can be put out. Again, all this are digitized and will be available in the system. That's the most important part. Final assembly will be like, how the coffee table will be assembled. Final, that is the tabletop and the legs and the whole body will be put together with glue and the with all the structures in place, with screws and other things. Where over here we can even say that, with the IoT integration, that is basically if there are any sensors or if there are any other fasteners which can be which can be automated or integrated with IoT box also, we can directly take those readings from the machine directly to the system as well. So that is also a possibility. So again, I said the impact is what we want to do is, at every step we want to check the quality and make sure that we don't build the whole process, put out our time and effort, and then realize that there was a quality mismatch. So and the final process would be the finishing and this thing, where we put out the curing, and where we might put out the sanding or finishing or any type of polishes as well. Over here we might clearly put out quality measures for checking, is there any, is it basically waterproof, or is it basically will the dust get adhered onto the process, how smooth is the finish, are there scratches, is the surface very smooth, and all these things. And even with the thickness in multiple places of the this thing, that is basically the tabletop, overall images from different angles, the wobbly this thing character of the whole table, all these things can be captured. You can see over here whether it passes or fail. It's not mandatory that every time we need to measure, or every time we need to take a picture, or every time we need to put out yes or no. It can be a combination of all this, or it can be just one of them. So this is also one example where we have taken a picture of the coffee table, a small this thing, and then we also say that whether it is pass or fail. With all these things, we are mentioning that with Odoo we'll be able to capture these quality parameters of a particular product at every step. And finally, before we put it out, before we send, before we dispatch the material to a customer, we can do visual inspection, checking for scratches, because we might have stored multiple things at place. There can be some physical damages during the movement from our shop floor to the storage yard. And we might also have to do the functional testing, where whether there is a wobbling or how much load it can take, and all these things. And then the packaging also, have we packed it well? Is the box in place, or is the wraps completely done? Is there any part left out without wrapping, and all these aspects? These again can be captured in the quality checks itself, in the quality module of Odoo. And as I said, with this quality checks, in fact, what we can do, we can attach these quality checks and be made available even to my customers in such a way that we can take out the printout of the quality check that we did and attach it with our dispatch note, along with the invoice, saying that these are the quality parameters that, as a company, as a responsible manufacturer or trader, we did the quality checks for you, so that you don't have to worry. So you can use the product hassle free without thinking too much about the quality, because we have taken care of it. So these are the real impacts, and this is how one of the quality check will look like at the time of manufacturing as well. We can say these are the measures, exact measures once the coffee table is ready, or any table or any product after it is completely manufactured, and the minimum and maximum should be this, and this is how we can capture it in the QC model of Odoo as well. What happens after this? Okay, now I captured all these aspects. I captured the quality parameters at the time of receipt, during manufacturing, before dispatch. What is later? What happens after this? So what we do is, if there are any deviations from our respective quality measures, that is, we wanted to capture it, we did capture it, but it was not the exact results what we wanted. So with that, we can trigger the alerts. We can put out the quality checks. What should happen next? It should go to a quarantine location. It should go to a separate process. This should trigger another process of reprocessing, or this should trigger material return to my vendors. All that can be done. This should stop the dispatch to be happening. Already it's in the warehouse to be for to be sent to the customer as a final dispatch. With this quality check, I'm stopping that. I'm saying that this particular product did not comply with my quality measures, so please don't send this to the customer. All this quality alerts can happen from Odoo 18. As I said, with all these things, we can have a faster response and resolutions. What should happen? What if the quality is, I mean, the quality, the parameter did not stand up to the mark with what we wanted. So, and most importantly, the important aspect which we are proposing over here, or which we are highlighting over here, is the documentation place, where earlier or even in the present scenarios, most of the quality parameters or the quality checks are documented in Excel or even manual registers. But that should be eliminated. With Odoo 18, we can make sure that it becomes a seamless process. Then comes, how do we as I said, I was explaining how do we handle the failures. So basically over here, uh, we can take this as an opportunity to improve. We can inform our vendors. We can say that this did not pass our quality checks. These are all the quality measures that we do, and these are the minimum criteria it should satisfy, so that the vendor also knows what we are expecting. At the same time, even during the process, we can say that if this is the quality, if it does not pass, we have to reroute it to somewhere else. We have to quarantine it. We have to take up another process, or we might even have to scrap it. So we get to know how many products are failing for quality measures, and how much is the cost, how much is the impact for the company. So all that will be documented over here. With all this, we can have the dashboards in place. As I said, the spreadsheets are available in Odoo. With these spreadsheets, we can have rework analysis. We can see how many products from one particular vendor pass the QC test, or how many of these vendors fail the QC test. What is the consistency, or what is the consistency with my processes. All these can be put out. Our data already available in spreadsheets can be converted into visual dashboards. Why is it needed? As I said, the I explained three different things. One is QC at the time of receipt, QC at the time of processing, QC before dispatch. With each one of these process, with the visual dashboard and with the data available, the purchase team or the team internally can take a call. Which vendor do I have to choose? There might be shortest lead time from this vendor. The price might be looking good, but the quality is bad. How do I know? Because I have the quality parameters in place, because I have everything documented. I am following a particular process in the manufacturing which is giving me low quality products. Or I might have to add one more step, or I might have to break it, do the quality check, and then I have to put out one more processing step. All this can be done only after looking into the quality analysis. That is, how well is my whole system behaving with the quality checks in place. So that's the reason the dashboards and the overall spreadsheets, or it could be any type of reports, are very, very important, rather than having them in outside the system, outside the ERP tool, where we have to prepare the Excels and then we need to build the reports. It will be very, very beneficial if we have it within the system itself. And as I said, what the whole company gains, I explained that with each of my slides as well. Fewer returns, faster audits. All the thing, most important thing is the documentation, because quality is one of the places where everything is documented manually, but which we would like to put that out as a digitized format. And most importantly, higher first pass yield. That is, the moment it gets the moment a particular quality parameter is passed, it immediately flows down to the next particular section. System is allowing, and then we can procure it, then we can process it fast, then we can dispatch it fast. And then most importantly, we can see the yield analysis. That is, how well qualified are my processes, how well qualified are my receipts, how well qualified are my processing, how well qualified are my dispatch. And most importantly, with this quality checks in place, digitized form of quality checks in place, we can also make sure our sales prices, or we can even justify our higher pricing, or even my lead time. If at all there is a higher lead time, or if there is a higher prices, we can say that because of we investing a lot of time in capturing these quality measures, making sure the product stands up to the mark, we are having higher pricing. But to do that, we need to have a quality system in place. We need to check each and every step of the whole processing, so that our products stand up to the mark. And with all this, we can say that we need not invest more in the after sales support, and our customers, the customer base grows, our customers become loyal to us, they give us more revenue because of our better quality promise. So these are all the aspects which, if I have to summarize, I'll put it this way: fewer returns, more reviews. And because customer is very well aware that we do so much of quality checks, and our product stands up to their expectations, they put out multiple purchases, which is again increasing the revenue, and obviously our brand grows. So we need to have a quality process that makes the customer keep coming back. That's what we are proposing through this webinar. So that's about how the quality works in Odoo. Where all we can inculcate the quality measures, how we can capture it, and what we do after that. So if you have any questions, you can let me know. I'll be happy to answer.